Welcome back to the Big Ranch Show, the real home of progressives. Thank you for joining me. Now, today we're going to discuss more about what happened in Israel a week ago, a little over a week ago now. We're going to discuss the war that has followed and how you can defend Israel's right to exist and its right to defend itself and to go after Hamas, but also call into question its tactics and condemning its use of chemical weapons and its direct attacks on civilians. So let's get into it, shall we? Of course, this is scenes from Gaza recently, where Israel has been bombing relentlessly since Saturday. And I understand that they're trying to go after Hamas. I get that. I think a nation has the right to defend itself. That's perfectly fine. But how Israel is going about it is completely morally bankrupt. It's making them just as bad, if not worse, than the terrorists that started this war in the first place. Honestly, I don't understand why Israel is doing this the way they're doing it. They've cut off all food, water, electricity to Gaza. There's a blockade stopping relief from getting in. Egypt has the southern route out, blockaded basically, or which would be a humanitarian corridor to get civilians out of Gaza. I guess that's actually would be to the west, I guess, of Gaza. I'm not very sure on my geography there. But either way, these people are trapped. Israel knows they're trapped, and Israel has cut off all food, water, and basically even medicine. They're out of fuel. Their hospitals are running out very, very soon. I think they'll be out by today or tomorrow. So their hospitals become non-functional. They have no water, no food, and even though from what the reports I've read, Israel hasn't turned off the water, they do not have the fuel at their pumping stations any longer to be able to pump the water through the city. Not like that would really work with all the devastation and broken pipes that you're going to be finding with all these broken buildings. So there's a lot that Israel's doing that they shouldn't be doing. And I don't understand why they're doing it the way they're doing it. There's a lot of talk that there's a lot of diplomatic stuff going on behind the scenes, people trying to get humanitarian aid to the civilians of Gaza, but that we also support Israel's right to go after Hamas. And I completely support that notion, right? You should be able to defend yourself. You should be able to take out terrorists. But there's absolutely no need to take out civilians. And we'll get to more of their war crimes and problems that they're doing and how they're doing things wrong in a minute. By the numbers, the death toll to the attack that started this whole thing, 1,400 is up to 1,400 people now. This is an attack where Hamas militants paraglided in, even on ground, and came across, even through sea, air, land, and sea to attack these people at a music festival and going door to door and slaughtered families. Those numbers are up to 1,400. The death toll in Gaza since this has begun, 2,700 minimum. That is where we are at a minimum in Gaza right now, with over 9,000 injured. And of course, Hamas has taken hostages. That number is up to 199. Now, there are a lot of things you could say about Hamas, that they're terrible, that they're a terrible, inhumane group of people. And that is true. And I believe after they killed 1,400 people like that, they should disappear off the face of the planet. But at the same time, I do not believe you should be attacking civilians. Over the weekend, they dropped leaflets saying, hey, Palestinians, in Gaza, go south, get away from the northern part of the city, because that's apparently where Hamas does most of its functioning. and that's where the IDF would be working, the Israeli Defense Force. The problem is some of they said there's these routes they could take to go south, and they'd be left alone. Well, one of those routes was bombed by Israel. That is a direct attack on civilians. That is a direct attack that violates, international law. It's not reasonable. It's not understand. It doesn't. Has no understanding. If you're trying to help the civilians not get hurt, why are you bombing their routes? Now, I said I'd get back to other war crimes, because what they're doing, attacking civilians, not allowing civilians food and water and fuel, seems like a war crime to me. But one that I know is banned internationally, the use of white phosphorus. White phosphorus is not allowed to be used in close quarter fighting, in areas, in big areas that are densely populated. It's not supposed to be used. Israel used this back in 2009. And if you don't know what white phosphorus is, it is a very terrible substance. If it ignites on your skin, it'll burn all the way to the bone. It'll burn until it hits your bone, basically. It can also be inhaled. And if it ignites that way, sounds kind of horrible, doesn't it? This is not just being targeted towards Hamas. It's being targeted towards civilians, populations as well. And I understand sometimes Hamas has been known to cover itself with human shields. And I know that's a problem. But you have to find a better way to go about this. We cannot just allow the wanton killing of civilians and the use of chemical weapons against civilians just because you're mad at what Hamas did. Out of the millions of people that live in Gaza, only a small portion of them support Hamas and the military wing of Hamas. What a lot of people don't understand is that Hamas's political side has done a lot to help the people. So if you want to know why in 2006 they elected Hamas in Gaza, it wasn't for their military, it was for the services that they had been providing. Most people in Gaza just want to live in peace. Same thing for the Palestinians in the West Bank. We have got to come together and find a solution to this problem that allows both states to exist while at the same time having peace. I understand there's a bunch of religious undertones, and I understand that's part of the problem too. But we got to put all that behind us and move forward. We have to find a way to solve this problem. I am so sick and tired of every few years hearing about how the Israeli Defense Force killed random Palestinians for no reason, or why Hamas killed dozens, if not hundreds, of Israelis for no reason. It's not reasonable, and it's not something we can do going forward. And this here is 6-year-old. Let me find his name here. I can't find his name. This is a 6-year-old Palestinian American boy who was killed over the weekend. Why? No one knows. But we do know that he was killed because the fact that he was Muslim. That's why he was killed. His mother, 32-year-old Hanan Shahin, said that her son, Wadi al-Famori, was killed by their landlord on Saturday. And he attacked the woman as well. The 6-year-old was living in a place with his mom that they rented, apparently, and the landlord came, opened the door, and according to messages that she has sent her husband, or the boy's father, I don't know if it's her husband or not, but her boy's father, um, that the guy started choking her as soon as she opened the door and started hollering that Muslims must die. Thinking that they're thinking that the guy would, I guess, not bother the kid, she ran to the bathroom and called police. When they arrived, they found 6-year-old um, the 6-year-old dead. Upon investigation, they found out that he had been stabbed 26 times simply because he was a Muslim. He's a 6-year-old boy. What the heck did he know about what's going on with Palestine and Israel? The 71-year-old landlord has been arrested and charged with first-degree murder, attempted murder, and hate crimes associated with this crime. So keep this kid's parents and family in your thoughts and prayers, because it's horrendous. We've got to do something about the hate that is raging around this globe, not just in America, not just in Israel and Palestine, but everywhere. There is too much hate in this country, and it's really just sad to see. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll be back next week with another video.